So, if I speak like this, can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, just out of curiosity, how many of you came to this from my channel or any other event? No one? Okay, fine. Just because I've been spamming my stuffs around, so I was like, maybe. No, this is my first convention ever. Furry convention, so I'm a new here. Okay, so hi, I am Linda. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this panel of mine called Furries. No, I'm not one of them. Kind of funny talking about not wanting to be a furry at a furry convention of all places. But yeah, this is kind of what I want to talk about, just kind of some history. Then what the world thinks of furries, because like I was saying before other people came in, this is also for the friends at home that don't really know a lot about the furry thing. What is it? So this is kind of a recap of sorts, just to say, you know, this is the thing. Stereotypes, and again, the theme of this panel, the closet furries gossip, and then some conclusions. So let's start with some history. People have always been fascinated by animals. Why is that? Well, they're different. They have different properties than us. Even just looking at this statue from like 40,000 years ago, you can imagine just like this caveman seeing, ooh, animal, weird, I like that. And this happened all throughout history. Just look at the Egyptian pantheon. It is full of animals. And for even something more exotic, so to speak, and also more recent, the Aztec culture, more recent, the Aztec culture, which again got elements from nature, because of course they are more interesting. Animals have venom, have fur, can leap, are predators. So of course the idea of having these animal traits on humans is very interesting. Also because, I mean, still talking about animals and this, you can use them for allegories, like Aesop's fables. None of them are really human, are they? Well, there are some, but most of them are known for animal characters because, I mean, yeah, we know humans are flawed, we know humans have these kind of things, but it makes it more specific if we use animals. So, and let's look at more modern culture. People use mascots because they're cute. Again, they're still interesting. And, you know, Disney wouldn't really use a human mascot, would it? Mickey Mouse is more dynamic, is more interesting. You can animate him more. Looney Tunes, there are like, what? 2 main characters that are human, Yosemite Sam and the hunter, I cannot remember the name. Yeah, I'm sorry. Panic is taking over my brain, and amnesia is the result of it. And Sonic, the Hedgehog, he's fast. We wouldn't want a human running fast, just like.
Just Flash.
Yeah, but that's a different subculture. I'm not talking about comics now. DC and Marvel, another time, maybe. I don't know. So, and take even a more mainstream example, like Zootopia. It's a story, it's a police drama, basically, in the end. Just taking the juice of it. It's a police drama, plain and simple. But what makes it interesting, it's the culture around it, all the stereotypes, the predators and the prey. it's a lot more intriguing. It's a lot more involving in a way, because animals, like, oh, it's a fox, it's cute. It's a bunny, it's cute. Although you should not say, if you're a bunny, it's okay. Otherwise, eh. Or for some more niche kind of thing, which this is one of my favorite comics, Black Sad. Again, I had it read to many of my friends, and they was like, yeah, this is just a furry police drama. But again, it makes the animal element makes it more interesting, because you can add character to a certain character by making him an animal version. Because, like personas, they are chosen with the animal that represents the person the most. So of course, adding the animal element makes the character gives the character more depth. Does that mean we're all furries? No, some of us are scalies. So let's talk about what the media thinks about furries. I really hope this video works, because otherwise,
It's not CSI, is it?
okay. So, the world doesn't have a very nice view of furries. Well, as many of you, I suppose, know, this very infamous episode of CSI, which, funnily enough, while I was preparing this panel, I was talking about it with my friends. I was like, yeah, I'm doing this panel on furries, and there was one of my friends that said, oh, you should really check out this CSI episode, because it talks about furries. I actually liked it a lot. So I said, okay, let's have a look. And I was like, oh my god. No. So, who of you has not seen the episode? Okay, so brief recap. They find a dead fursuiter in the desert, and, you know, animal puns ensue. And they just, like, investigate the scene, just like, what is going on here? Why is he dressed in a giant raccoon suit? And basically the portrayal of the furry convention is mostly just people in cheap mascot costumes, or not even fursuit, just like just strutting around, just kind of rubbing on each other. And that's basically it. And the convention that people are attending is just like, yeah, we are animals inside. This is our spiritual connection. Which, I mean, there are people that believe this. There is nothing wrong with that, but that is not quite the right generalization for it. And, of course, what really cemented the idea of furries being all about that yiff was the clue scene of the whole thing. They start like, oh, what's the night event? A fur pile? Oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? No. They basically see these lingerie-clad fursuiters just kind of in a pile doing stuff in a conference room, nonetheless. Just like, how unreal is that? Do you really think the astral people? Yeah, sure, go fuck around in it. No problem. So you can see this representation is very problematic. The problem is, many people have seen this episode and just immediately said, oh, that fur thing, it must be real, without really considering that maybe the writers hadn't done that much research. About furries in the media, I really recommend Abergwine series about furries in the media, because, of course, I just really scratched the surface of this. I took really the most notable example, but she really goes in depth about really all the instances, and there are also some positive things, thankfully. What people mostly associate with furries is also this, because they associate this suit to a fursuit, which, as you can see, it's not quite the same level of detail, and this is just a mascot suit. Which, again, it kind of makes sense, because like we were saying before, animals are cute. People are attracted to animals just like for how they are. Like dogs, cats, we own them because we like them. Or even wild animals, we just are more attracted to them because they are more cute. So, of course, people might want to use this as an escamotage. And again, this goes to detriment to everyone, because like we saw in the video very briefly, lots of headlines just saying, yes, this rapist, he was a furry, so of course he was one of the weird ones, not because he was a criminal, he did bad things, just he's a furry, so of course this is obvious. And of course this generalization comes from believing that this animal costume is the same as that animal costume, which we know not quite the same thing. So let's talk about stereotypes. Why do stereotypes exist in general? They are generally used, evolutionary speaking, they make sense, because we need to identify friends or enemies at first glance. Like the panel of last night was saying, the stereotypes are useful in many cases, because we need to, it's part of our instinct to be able to identify an enemy from a friend immediately. So like we see some traits that we recognize in a part of group, and we say, those traits aren't really good, so of course we just label them all together. And there are many stereotypes, just like, all white girls like makeup and everything, or all nerds are losers, or just spend all day reading, or all Asian people are good at maths, or all French people speak baguette croissant.
I mean, isn't it wrong?
That's the thing. I mean, they're not entirely wrong. This part of stereotypes is that there is some truth to them, because, of course, we'll get to that later. So let's talk about some misconception about the furry fandom. It's all about that sweet, sweet yip, baby. So I'm into the business of commissions. I suppose all of you know what commissions are. Yeah. I was talking about it with my another artist friend of mine. She was saying, no, I really don't want to do furry art, because they will ask me the weird stuff. And I was like, no. I mean, as far as I know, I do not safe for work art, but I've also had many requests of safe for work art. And so I run some stats. So I really thought about it. I said, wait a minute, I need some data. So I started doing commissions in 2017. This was my total commissions. The not safe for work ones, 27. And the safe for work ones, 38. With a grey area of 3, because I didn't really know how to classify them, because there's a sort of grey area which you kind of not want your colleague to see, but it's not either porn, so it's weird. So, as you can see, this is kind of balanced, but then, following year, total commission 65, a bit less, not safe for work 15, and the safe for work 49 with a grey area of 1. So this is the total commissions. As you can see, this is the safe for work commissions, which is kind of different from the not safe for work ones. So I really explained to my friend, just, it's not all about that. Well, I'm not denying there certainly is a key component of that, and that's also what got me into the business, because, as you can see, the first year was a lot more balanced, because people said, yes, she does the thing. So, of course, people are more interested in that as well, but there's also a very large safe for work component. And going back to the not safe for the YIF pile from CSI, conventions are just for this. I really hope no one here is doing anything remotely sexual. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, no one here is, at least in this room. I mean, if you are, is this good? No. So as the program itself says, there's full of panels, conferences, dance events, not just the sex. Well, sex sure is a key component in our nature, because I attend the Star Trek convention in Italy, which, Trekkies, you wouldn't really think, they're all about that sex thing, but I know things that I'd rather not know. So, this sex thing is just our instincts. It's not, the furry conventions are not specifically for that, but there sure is some YIF going on somewhere. And misconception number 3, furries behave like animals or want to be animals. While there is a part of the theory community that still would like to be the animal they see, that they feel themselves to be, this is a part of the community. Most of the community is people. Just like, oh yeah, I really like that character, I really identify with that character. That's not mean I'm going to go prancing around or just hunting a bird out from the tree, you know. And also the part of having fun being the character that you usually aren't. Like cosplay, I had this. I used to do cosplay. I'm trying to get back into it, and the thing is, it's about being someone else. Hi. About being someone else for some time, and you can just really behave freely, just like nuzzling, hugging, things that wouldn't really be considered as socially acceptable, just like going up to a stranger, hi, you're adorable, just hugging. No. Of course, in these kind of safe spaces, you really kind of feel like acting more freely, not necessarily like an animal. Misconception number 4, all furries are gay and or have mental disorders. As a pansexual person myself, it kind of feels like home being here in this place, just like, oh yes, so many like me. But the thing is, not everyone is gay. There is a large part of it that is, because this is an ostracized community. It's kind of out of the norm. So of course, people will want to be part of someone who is more accepting. I'm sorry, my mouth dries up immediately. And of course, every kind of person that is kind of left out of normal life tries to find refuge in some other community which is more accepting. And since we know we are part of the weird ones, we accept other weird ones. Oh wait, I have not been following my notes. And another one, yeah, creepy. Furries are all sexual predators or deviants. I mean, of course, many people see what furries are mostly into and just like, oh my god, I wonder what he does either to animals or to kids. My poor kid, he's been going around hugging that furry thing, but I wonder what he's done with that fursuit. Terrible. Again, not really. I mean, I'm not saying that we're all just angels, saints, chaste and pure. No, that is definitely not the case. But again, we're not sexual predators. Like, also, LGBT community really faces this problem, because just like, oh, I'm gay. Oh, that's fine as long as you just don't attack me. Just like iron suit. No, stand against the wall. No, I mean, if I don't find you attractive, I'm not going to even bother. So, with all of this in mind, also, I forgot to mention, people have been complaining about furries kind of, they're ruining childhoods by drawing porn of our favorite childhood characters like the Lion King, or you name it. The problem is, Rule 34 exists for everyone. So I'm sorry to disappoint anyone in the audience who was kind of living in a porn-free world. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. So, with all this in mind, let's go to the main story of this, a safe place, the closet. There are many people who might not want to identify as furries because of all this baggage. You can't really just say, oh yes, I'm a furry, everyone is going to be loving and accepting. No, that is simply not true. And I love these kind of memes because of course, if people know about all those things in the first place, because there are some people that just kind of don't know, just like, oh, you're into that thing? Oh, sure, cool. While others who have perused the internet more are just like, oh my god, you're one of those. So, of course, as a closet furry, you're just like, no, let's let people not find out. And when I want to talk a bit about my childhood. I grew up in a family that really loves animals. Just like my mom always used to have us draw animals, and that's how I started. And when I used the internet, I just went for images of dragons, griffins, unicorns. I love them. I just collected them, not really knowing, just, yeah, sure, it's cool, it's drawn well, I like it. Then I stumbled upon the magic word, anthro, and I was like, this is cool. I mean, just look at this, amazing. What is this? I don't know. This is probably not very safe for work. Don't look. So I was like, this is amazing. And when I started to draw, I started drawing animals, not like a normal person does. Just like usually one does humans, then animals, and then the rest. I did something else. I started with animals, and then I started with anthros because I said humans aren't interesting. Who cares about humans? So to learn human proportions, I actually drew anthros first. So I was inescapably a furry. But I was not convinced about that. When I was 12, I did this. I actually dug out this pretty little gem of mine. This is a drawing I did with kind of a sequence I wanted to do of drawing myself as I grew up. So I started at 12, just like, yeah, I'm a tiger, I like myself, I think this represents me. Sure, everything's fine. I had no idea what furry even meant. This was my thing. Then 14, ooh, a different character, whole new look, wings, got an upgrade, got a new fluffy tail, kind of created this creature, I can't even remember the name. This new me, new different me. And then 18 years rolled around, bam, no, not one of them anymore, no, I'm cured. So, when I then realized what a furry was, I was like, oh my god, am I insane? Am I sick? Do I like those things? No, I don't want to be one of them. So, of course, you kind of think, I've been possessed by an evil spirit. But yeah, even knowing from the internet that I wasn't really alone, this is kind of how I felt, because no one around me was really like, yeah, furries are normal. People were just like, oh, gross, furries. So even if I still kind of drew these anthros and things, I just kind of kept it in the sidelines, just like, yeah, I'm drawing the normal stuff now, and the rest is over. I'm cured. I'm sorry, I'm mirroring the screen, so I don't really know what's next. Okay, so as just get something more recent, the Odd One's Out. He is very known on YouTube as an animator. He recently posted a picture on Instagram of him having mounted his television, and in the reflection it was him with a fursuit head. And this is what happened. And I was just like, oh my god, you really are a furry. Oh my god, why are you doing this? And it's funny to see comments like, wow, you got a really nice TV. Like, also just like, James, I can't believe you've done this. All the mess of boxes behind you, how dare you? Well, there are many others just like saying, yeah, like, I'm offended, you left the boxes on the ground. And some people are like, are you a furry? Just, why? And also, yeah. Okay, so I have no idea what's next. Okay, so as you all furries know, I mean, it's such a large fandom that it's kind of overwhelming when you first decide, yeah, I think I'm okay with labeling myself as a furry, and then you just come across everything on the internet, and you're just like, what's this? Also, this is what I'm sure you all can relate to this to some extent, because the fandom is a lot. There are so many people, so many differences. Ooh, I can actually talk louder. No. There are so many differences among everyone. Like, even to do the research, there are different categories for each. You can't really label the fandom furry as one. The furry fandom as one thing that is all the same, because it's not. mean, probably the only thing that really unites us is the love for anthropomorphic animals, and that's just how precise you can get for everyone. Because not everyone wears a fursuit, not everyone feels like expressing themselves. It's like yesterday I was at the dance party, just people in the back lines just kind of staring, while others just like partying on. And that's the thing, since it's such a diverse group of people, you can't really just bunch them all together and just like, yeah, they're all like that. But like we were saying, just like all French people talk croissant baguette, voila. I'm also half French, kind of French by the way, so it just really hits home. So there are also the stages of furry acceptance. I don't know who, raise a show of hands who has seen this video? Okay, many who haven't, perfect. So, funny also, this is pretty recent, and for who has seen it, who can identify with this? Yeah, okay. Well, let's go on with the video so you can all see what it is about.
Zootopia was so awesome. I wonder how it'd be to live in that city. It seems so cool.
Whoa, dude. Sounds like you're turning into a furry.
What? A furry? The hell is that?
You know, those peeps who dress up in animal costumes and all that weird stuff.
No way, dude. I'll never end up like one of those freaks.
Frank, what is that?
Oh, it's it's a Nick Wilde plushie. You know, I saw it in the store. It looked kind of cool.
Is that a drawing of Nick Wilde?
Maybe.
Dude, I'm like 95% sure that you're turning into a furry.
Oh, for fuck's sake! I'm not a furry! I just like drawing animals. Animals are cute. That doesn't mean I'm a hecking furry. What? Who do you think you are anyways? How do you know so much about furries? You know what? I think you're the furry. Why does everyone think I'm a furry? I just like watching animal movies. And this plushie is really cute. And I maybe I'll listen to a few furry musicians, but I'm not a furry. I think I didn't ask for this. Why can't I just be normal? Wait, no, I am normal. I know I am. Okay, maybe I like these cartoon animals, but I'm not a furry, you know? Maybe I can go with the tails and stuff. They're kind of cute. Actually, they're really kind of cute. You know, I don't have to go full furry. I could just be a little furry. No one will notice. Okay, you know what? Fuck this. I'm a furry. Fur Nation. Woo! Time to make myself a fucking fursona. Oh my god, check it out, guys. I got my own fursona. Hey, Kyle. Kyle, fucking pay attention to me.
What?
I'm a furry.
Wow, what a shocker.
Woo! Hey, Dad. I've become a furry.
Sonny boy, that's not really something you need to tell us, you know.
But I'm a furry.
Okay, so of course not everyone really goes through these stages because, well, in this case you talked about Zootopia, but each one has their own kind of awakening kind of thing. I can't even remember what it was for me. Probably griffins on the internet again, just like, ooh, yes, I like that. But not everyone really has the confidence of that last final part because of all the stereotypes that the fandom carries, and also because people are introverted. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about some gossip. So, as I'm sure all fans of Rick and Morty know, there is not quite the good reputation for the fandom, and that's a thing for every fandom, because what really gets most attention in any kind of fandom news, anything, is the vocal minority that is the craziest. And also in a good way a crazy, maybe not in this kind of sense, because Pickle Rick, the guy crying Pickle Rick on the floor, wasn't really a good example of the fandom. But there are plenty of, this is one of the fandoms. There's also Steven Universe that has the same problem, just like, oh yes, the fandom is terrible because they've been bullying artists and the creators themselves, and just like hyperbole, why the Steven Universe fandom is the worst ever. And Voltron had suffered the same thing, and so many others. And what I found extremely funny was that there's a Wikipedia kind of site just specifically for toxic fandoms. There is, of course, one for the furry community as well. And what, again, I found really funny was just like so many categories. But that's the thing about fandoms and news, because why fandom can't have nice things. This is a very interesting articles I found on TV tropes. The problem is some fans become so thick and heavy that their previously fun activity has become a burden and is no longer enjoyable by the rest of the people, because they just like get so invested in it that the casual fan is more like, no, I don't want to identify with this. But that's the thing that gets most coverage in the news, because no one really wants to read a news article talking about, oh yes, this furry guy really bought a nice t-shirt. It's more interesting to hear, yes, this furry guy jumped in a river and tried to catch a fish with his mouth. You know, that kind of weird thing. I don't think an article like that exists. So, what?
Not yet.
Not yet. Please don't do it. You might drown in that pursuit. So, of course, since that gets most of the coverage and people are shy, people are still in the furry closet. So, conclusions? Fortunately, I have seen that furries are kind of fighting for a proper view of the furry community. Like even BuzzFeed, come on, if even BuzzFeed can do this, so can everyone else. So there is a lot more acceptance, especially like from big networks like CNN or The Guardian or Vice, that many people, more kind of mainstream people, read. Also, it's the kind of same demographic that would watch a show like CSI, that read these articles are like, oh yes, so maybe indeed CSI was wrong and not just CSI. So with this kind of thing, people are starting to become more accepting. But again, it's not totally about accepting the fandom as a whole, because again, the fandom can be so much. And sometimes you don't really want to label yourself as a furry. Maybe you can just like anthro animals and just kind of consume your own media at home in your safe place, and just like be your own thing. The important thing is that you love yourself. So yeah, and I did this because it's not easy to love yourself. It's not easy to accept yourself, because there are so many things like, and we are instinctively trying to always kind of be part of a group, because we know we are safe within a group. It's not easy to fend for yourself all alone. So of course, if you feel ostracized, it's also easy to blame yourself. Just kind of hate yourself, oh, I'm wrong, I should not be this way, and kind of compensate, but then you are still sad because you're not being your true self. So, important lesson of today, kids, is love yourself before trying to find your right label or whatever. And to quote one of my favorite philosophers,
all I want to tell you is school is not important. Be whatever you want to be. If you want to be a dog, roof, you know?
Okay. Thank you very much. I realized I've been going on for only half an hour, and I was supposed to go for an hour and a half. So, if you have any questions, please go ahead. Or you want to share something, your experience, or whatever, unless you're all closet furries and like, no, I'm not one of them, so no sharing. Yes?
The thing about furries is, it's funny, I started to work 1 year ago at Volkswagen as more or less a manager for a digital unit. Mm-hmm. And the funny is, I walk in there with my Bad Dragon t-shirt. It's like one of those. I walk in there, and there immediately the person who had like metal pony statues on the desk, she goes to me like, "You're a furry, right?" Oh, is that so obvious?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I walk around with whatever the fuck I want, so.
Yeah, that high gal t-shirt is amazing. Just Also, I'm probably sure many of you haven't even eaten, like I haven't. So yeah, this is a bad time for a panel. I'm so sorry, guys. I did not choose this. I was forced to. I didn't choose this either. So yes.
In the first year of my apprenticeship, we had to make a PowerPoint about our favorite hobby in school.
Ooh.
And I just thought, give it a shot, and yeah, like see how it goes. And I got a really good grade because later I found that my teacher was very Jewish.
Well, that's cheating. So yeah, if you have an insider there, of course it's easier to kind of spread the word. So, any more comments? Anything? Yeah.
So I'm more of a fan girl. I'm a big fan of many movies, books,
Yeah.
Things. I'm cosplay, and I'm very extrovert. So I tell everybody everything, like what movie I just watched, what book I read, and I tell everybody about my visiting furry convention and what's a furry. That's so great! And I show them pictures, and then they explain. And there's bad rumors, but that's not always true. Of course, there will people, and I educate my fellow people. So in my workplace, a lot of people now know what furries are because I cannot tell them because it's so great. It's just so, yeah, you should check this out. And nobody said you're a weirdo. Well, they might think it, but I think they accepted it. So okay, that's unusual, but yeah, sure. If you have fun, show me some pictures, and that's fun. So it can go very well as well.
Yeah, because that's the thing. In the end, everyone is weird to some extent. There is no normal.
Yeah.
Just kind of what is required by law or what most societal customs are. But in the end, each one does their own weird stuff at home. So just kind of labeling one as weird is.
The weirdness is progression.
I'm sorry?
The weird progresses.
Yeah, exactly. Probably people that are saying, "Oh, you're weird," are just more weirder than you.
The person who was like, "I want to fly," was weird at the time. Now look at us.
Yeah.
And for example, don't people ask you if you are zoophile when you tell them that you are furry?
Oh yes, so it happens all the time. Because again, this is part of the stereotypes thing. Just like, oh, you like animals, so you kind of like them in that sense too. Just no. And again, that's kind of the thing that gets most coverage because like the people that get caught are just like, oh, he turned out to be a furry, so all furries are like that. Which again is not true. Well, I'm not denying that there are people that kind of like watching these things and like, sure, whatever rocks your boat. Just don't go molesting animals. But yeah, this is not representative of a community. It's such a large community that again you can't really just stick a label on everyone that is just the same conforming.
That's the part I always struggled with was like, you know, that sinking feeling you get when like a coworker looks at a sticker and like, hey, what's that sticker about? And you like struggle to find a way to explain it. Like, how do I head off, you know, all the negative press of the past? Like, how do I explain this in a way where they're not like, oh, where they're more like, okay, you know, I kind of. That's
yeah, and again, you can't really convince everyone either because there are some people that are more open-minded and some simply not because. Sure, people think, hey, hi. People might find a fursuit cute and are just like, oh, that's interesting. Yes, you are the center of the attention now. And say, I would like to maybe try it and see if it is my thing or not. Who knows, maybe they say, sure, why not? Or just like, no, thanks, not my thing, but fine. Well, others are just like, no, this is wrong. And so it kind of depends either on the approach or just the person itself. You can't really just slap everyone in the face and say, you should accept furries, because yes. Not everyone is going to.
I think it was kind of nice yesterday when there was a concert, that event that was not connected to the furry fandom. You could see all the people, the normies, quote unquote, interacting with the fursuits in a positive manner.
Yes, that's the thing. I mean, once people really know what's going on at conventions, they kind of have a different approach because they say, oh, this is what's really going on. or even again, many people don't even know what furries are, so just see this new thing as just like, what is this? Oh, what's this?
Yeah, this happened when I was first time at some kind of scientific convention, and I was dressed like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the people were asking me from what anime are you or cartoon? They couldn't label me where I'm from. Then I was like, I made it myself. It's my original character or something. And they were like, that's not possible. You have to belong into something commercial.
Yeah, that's the thing about cosplay and fursuiting. Many people just kind of bunch them all the same, just like, yeah, it's a costume. Sorry, I'll finish.
And they were really confused. Like, it just doesn't go together.
Yeah.
You cannot think something like this yourself. I mean, you have to see it on TV.
Well, yeah, because many people, I mean, as a cosplayer myself, you kind of see many characters that are like, I can identify with that. Also because coming with the right character to identify exactly with you is not easy. I mean, Fruitball was talking about yesterday in the other hall, was like saying it's hard to come up with a persona because you kind of want it to identify with you as much as possible. So, of course, kind of hanging on to a different character that sort of relates to you close enough, is more plausible than coming up with your own character.
You mean from like movies and cartoons?
Yes, yes. I mean,
that's why My Little Pony is so successful.
Yes.
Because of the all colorful palettes of different characters, different personalities, and people relate to them. That's why I think the show is so popular.
Yeah, but just like take anime culture. I mean. Or even as a cosplayer myself, I can say just like cosplay. Also, cosplaying has the same benefits of fursuiting. You kind of become a different person. So many introverts are more easygoing. Just like I'm not myself, so I can be more. Funny enough, I can be more myself while I'm being someone else.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like to explain if someone don't know what furries are. I like to explain that it's mascots who create ourselves, and that's what we have a community about. That's how I normally explain it.
Yeah, that's pretty. But then again, not everyone. I mean, there's only one person here for a reason. Because again, also fursuiting is hard. Because you really have to carry around fur, especially I'm hot now. I don't even want to imagine how hot it must be in there. Of course.
He has a cooling collar, so he's okay.
So and maybe not everyone. I mean, I'm kind of preaching to the choir here by saying they're furries, but the panel this was more oriented about was kind of my friends that really inspired me to do this. Because people that really don't feel like expressing themselves, let alone a fursuit, but just even getting out of their persona is just like a taboo for them because maybe they grew up in a closed-minded environment. So they kind of feel like they're doing, it's like a guilty pleasure in a way. Just like, I like it, but I'm not supposed to. And so many people just kind of live in denial of this, and it's great to be in these kind of environments because you really see people really having the strength to say, no, this is who I am. I want to be this, and this is how I want to express myself in a safe place. Yes.
Speaking of awful portrayals of furries in media, it's even worse in countries that are way less familiar with furries than, for example, the United States. Like, for example, I come from Poland. And we have that thing in the television that people are very fond of really crappy para-documentary series. And of course one of the episodes had to involve furries because it's something that's budging and people are starting to notice that it's a thing. So what did they do? Well, they went a step down from the cheapo mascot costumes and they just put two people running around in the forest in a kigurumi pajamas, like climbing on trees and making weird sounds.
Yeah, because I mean, again, if you don't really do research and you just talk about the news, that's the juicy things. Nobody's going to watch a person just relaxing. Just I'm listening to something interesting, like media and enjoy. Just they want the weird stuff. So yeah.
I'm gonna chime in here because I was sitting with my family drinking tea, and that thing was on television. And they know that I go to furry conventions, which I call fantasy conventions.
Yeah.
So it was a bit like, we're not like this. It's not like this.
Yeah, just please trust me on this. It's not like this. Yes.
It runs in the last part of the video when the guy was taking his pants. Most young people have to struggle about taking the pants because they want to share this information with private people. I don't know how many of you guys have told your parents or close ones that you are furry, and raise your hands. Alright, the other ones don't.
Yeah.
For
That's telling.
For myself, it was like my mother. So you're going to Berlin again? Yes. What are you doing there? It's a fairy convention. What's a fairy? It's about people that like talking animals. So like Winnie the Pooh. Yes. Done. Yeah. Okay. And so, what's your opinion for people that struggle with friends? Because some people have it really hard to explain for friends because of all the stigma with CSI and stuff, and some others have like mine were like, okay, it's like this, thanks.
Yeah, well, as someone who has come out already as pansexual, like I was saying, it's also kind of disappointing when they're so accepting. Because you want to be special, just like, I am different. And then it's not, okay. No, you're supposed to say, oh, what? Why are you doing this? But it's kind of better that way. But yeah, that's the thing of coming out. And again, I think you can really identify your real friends once you really say, this is who I am, take it or leave it. So, but the problem is, again, that's why many furries are still closeted, because it's not easy to especially knowing the stigma around it. You can't really just flaunt it and just kind of wear a bad dragon t-shirt and banners all over the place, I'm a furry. Because the people who know and know you might think differently. So maybe you value your friendship with them for other reasons and you don't want to lose that friendship. Or even family members, you value them so you don't really want to lose them, so you kind of keep this to yourself and come to safe places like this, or you just kind of live in your own mental space, just kind of enjoying your own content without really sharing it with anyone. And that's what the internet really is for. It's really a saving grace that nowadays we can really find our new friends. Like most of my friends are online, because you can really look for people who share really the same interests. So you are really more selective about your friends, and you get closer friends, even if they're far away physically. You can get closer friends because you are united by the same passion, the same ideas, rather than just proximity. Anyone else? So you're free to go eat if you haven't eaten yet, or do whatever. I don't know what the next panel is. So thank you for coming.